I have my tensioner in position, and as I turn the bar to the right, you can see how it loosens the belt. I can now slip the belt off. Now my technique for installing the new belt is to first wrap the belt around the lower pulleys. And once the belt is in position on the lower pulleys, I then put it around the top pulley, which is the water pump pulley. And from the last pulley that I slip the belt over is the tensioner. So I loosen the tensioner and then slip it over the tensioner. Before starting the engine, I'm going to make sure that the belt is properly seated. And to do that, I'm going to first inspect it visually, very carefully, to make sure that the belt is in the proper position on each pulley. I'm going to tug at it a few times. Alright? And then I'm going to use a technique to bump the engine without starting it a few times to make sure that as the belt turns, it seats properly. Now on this type of vehicle, which requires you to press the brake pedal in order to start it, there's a technique I'm going to use to bump the engine without starting it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the key first and then tap the brake ever so slightly, just enough for the engine to turn over without actually starting. Then I'm going to get out and look at the belt again, and I'm going to do that about 2 or 3 times. Maybe 3 or 4, just to be sure. And prior to turning over the engine, you'll want to go ahead and reconnect the mass airflow sensor. Now that's important because if you don't reconnect the plug to the mass airflow sensor, you will get a check engine light. And unless you have an OBD2 sensor scanner and are able to reset the light, you may have a problem on your hands as a DIYer. So you don't have to put the intake tube and filter housing back into position, but you will need to at least reconnect the mass airflow sensor connector prior to the next step, which is to test the belt by turning over the engine. So you can see that the belt has been turned over a few times, and it's properly seated, and I now feel comfortable turning the engine over and letting it warm up for a couple of minutes and then driving. So happy driving and good luck.